Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Ambalanders, well-wishers of Ambazonians, lovers of Ambazonian, friends of Ambazonia. Today is the 12th of September 2024, and it's a very important day for us. As seen on the program already, today we are here in the studio to talk about one of the most impactful subject in our revolution. So the quest, we'll talk about the impact of the quest for justice and human rights in Ambazonia. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, today we want to focus on Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation and the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council, a relentless advocate of the independence of Ambazonia, a man who has dedicated over 30 years of his life to fight for a free homeland, for a free Ambazonia, for a place that we can all call home, a place that you can leave your respective place of abode where you are today to go back and say, this is my home, a place you can proudly call home, where your children can truly say, this is where my parents came from. That man, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, was recently arrested by the Norwegian authorities. In a move, many, or the international community, and most of us Ambazonians, you and I who are here today, know that we see it as a political motivated action, a conspiracy orchestrated with the complicity of Cameroon to silence the voices of those who are speaking for the defense of our homeland, those who are standing for justice, those who are standing for human rights, defenders of human rights and defenders of justice. This is what Cameroon has been doing over the years since 1961. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we want to focus on Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, his recent arrest by the Norwegian authorities, which we know is a politically motivated action and orchestrated by Cameroon for this action to happen. So this arrest, we know, is calculated attempt is to weaken the spirit of resistance amongst Ambazonians, to provide Cameroon another license to continue its human rights violations in Ambazonia, its killing machine in Ambazonia, its killing spray in Ambazonia, because Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has been the voice that keeps standing up against the human rights violations, the killings in Ambazonia. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the honor to be hosting the Vice President of the Ambazonian Governing Council, Dr. Julius Nyih, and the Chairperson of the Councils of Missions of the Ambazonian Governing Council. They will share their insight into the implications of this arrest of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation, his legacy, the urgent need, most especially, for the solidarity in the fight or in the face of justice. So today, we are here to talk everything about the arrest, but most importantly, to call on every Ambazonian to rise, to stand in solidarity with Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba as we fundraise for the legal fee for his defense. So, Mr. Vice President, welcome to the studio, sir. It's always an honor to have you to talk to your people. And Chairman, it's good to have you. Thank you very much for joining me this morning, this afternoon, and this evening.
Thank you so much, Madam PS. It's also a pleasure to share this space with you, to communicate, to our listeners, to talk to our people, and also to get through to the international community on the plight of the Amazonian people. Uh, this is a watershed moment in our quest for freedom, where the intimidation tactics of Cameroon and the international community has come to focus on the leader of our liberation. We shall look at how together we can defend him as well as other leaders within the movement and beyond who deserve to be defended in the courts of justice.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Chairman, please, Dave,
Yes,
how are you today, sir?
thank you, Madam PS. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon in the studio. And as the Vice President said eloquently, we are here today to make it very clear to everyone that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So
right.
we have to do everything to make sure that justice will prevail. And our leader of the Amazonian Governing Council and of the Amazonian Liberation, Dr. Lucas Ayaba, is somebody who embodies the fight for justice from a very tender age, from the university in Boya, when he led even a one-man strike against increase of school fees. This is somebody who has fought for justice his entire life. And I will say this is a very crucial moment. This fight which he's fighting now and which we are coming here today, all of us, to come and support him, is the fight that summarizes everything he has been doing in his life.
Okay, thank you very much for that, sir. And Mr. Vice President, before we go into the nooks and crannies of this conversation, let's talk about the arrest of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. I know there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of people saying what they do not know. But as the Vice President, to bring more clarity to people to understand, why was he arrested and what is he charged with?
Thank you, Madam PS. Fellow Ambazonians, the arrest of your leader, I know it came to many as a shock, but he knew that he'll be arrested one day. So to him, it was a matter of when, not if, because all liberation leaders have gone to jail. All liberation leaders will always go to jail. History has shown that from South Africa to South America to Asia, in short, all liberation leaders go to jail. And Dr. Cho was charged. And when they go to jail, they don't go to jail because they have done something wrong. They go to jail in an attempt by the oppressor or those who connive with the oppressor to intimidate or to quench the zeal for freedom. They do so in order to subdue or in order to turn the tide when they see that they are unable to win on the battlefield. So they use the legal means. Dr. Cho Ayaba is a victim of a desire by Cameroon and the international community that has stood silent, watch how 40,000 Ambazonians have been slaughtered, thousands displaced internally and externally, tens of thousands in jails and mass graves. And they think if we leave Dr. Cho out there, and with the impending instability, social, economic, and political in Cameroon, then the Gulf of Guinea would go in flames. So it is better to take him in to try to quench his desire and his pursuit of freedom. But little did they know that there are thousands of Dr. Cho Ayaba out there, and that locking him up doesn't solve the problem. The frivolous charges that are levied upon him are that he incited people to commit crimes against humanity while living in Norway, and those crimes were committed in Cameroon, as it so says. So it remains the case to see the plaintiff's evidence. And as we are here today, we start building our case, because this case would be cases comprising Ambazonia against Cameroon. So I call on all Ambazonians, well-wishers, followers of the revolution, whether Ambazonia or not, to support your leader and make sure that a watermark is drawn on this case once and for all, so that other leaders, other persons that are persecuted around the globe for similar crimes might walk free one day or might use it as precedent.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. We are having some echoes from your end there. I hope that gets adjusted in the studio so Ambazonians can truly get you clearly. And I will come to you there, Mr. Chairman. The arrest of the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation, Dr. Cho Ayaba, has come as a blow to most people. And as you, as the chairperson of the Council of Mission, first of all, let me ask you, what is the Council of Missions of the Ambazonian Governing Council before we get into all of this?
Okay, beautiful question. So the Ambazonian Governing Council is a very organized organization, and I think a lot of people just see it from the outside and they kind of not see this fine oil machine inside. So the Ambazonian Governing Council is like it's like a federation of missions around the globe, and all these missions, which are like the motto, they are the engine of the Ambazonian Governing Council. They come in a council, and that is what we call the Council of Mission. So it's like the parliament of the Ambazonian Governing Council. So it's a very important institution for the smooth running, even just like the daily running of everything, because the organization runs from the missions, and the Council of Mission oversees all of this.
Okay, thank you very much. The arrest of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is not just the arrest that affects the Ambazonian Governing Council, but the entire revolution, the entire Ambazonia in its entirety. So, may I ask, what is the spirit right now? Do you see any form of solidarity for from Ambazonians, or there is still a lot of he is the leader of the Ambazonian Governing Council, they should deal with it?
No. If I have to be honest, I see a lot of solidarity from other Ambazonians around the globe, and Ground Zero especially. Now you always have one or two of the weaver beds, as we'll say, will be saying some things out of line, but that is not the general spirit among the Ambazonian people. I think the general spirit among the Ambazonian people is a one of solidarity, and they understand and see that Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba embodies the fight for a free and just Ambazonia. So I think the majority of what I see is solidarity.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Vice President, I don't know, how long have you known the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation? And over the years, how can you can you describe his legacy? for the fight for a free homeland for Ambazonia, because we see that he didn't start the fight in 2016, like most of us started, like me, of course. And we've seen that he's planted his footprints in the Ambazonian liberation struggle for more than 30 years. How long have you known him, and what has been your inspiration to even be able to work with him now that you sit as his deputy, his vice?
Thank you, Madam PS. I known Dr. Cho sparingly, I would say about 25 years ago, during the issues during his stance against school fees in University of Boya. At the time, I was in the Colonial University of Chang, so I knew that name and the guys that were let go because we couldn't stand them in the same university. Fast forward, to know him as a family friend, a colleague, a boss. I have known him for the last 9 years. And during that time, what happens in his house, my house knows. And what happens in my house, his house knows. Not sometimes directly through us, but through family members. That's how close we are. I see a guy that would not allow injustice go unrecognized and unaddressed. So he'll make sure that he speaks about it. He'll make sure that he pursues options that would seek redress to such injustice. And Dr. Cho's passion in serving the Ambazonian people, looking at his trajectory since the days of Boya, shows somebody that was brought into this world by the Almighty to fulfill a mission. And I think deep inside him, he is a strong guy. He knows where he is at the moment is part of that mission. And I am confident from the conversations that I've had with him indirectly that he is making the most of it for the Ambazonian cause where he is. And as I said, this is a guy that would stop at nothing to make sure that those who are wronged are served with justice. And I think this is the zeal that is driving him, that is driving the organization, because it seems as if by chance or by luck or by nature, people with similar ideologies, similar thoughts, people with similar mentality like myself found ourselves drawing closer to him at the onset of this war in 2016. And it is that spirit that has allowed for a strong organization embodied in the president himself and through his ideology, supported by all the frontline workers and all the backroom staff, that has shown Ambazonian people that the Egg of Sea is the organization to liberate them, and we will liberate them. Whether Dr. Cho is locked up or not, whether the current lawsuit against Dr. Nyih goes ahead or not, Ambazonia will be liberated thanks to the unwavering ideologies, the unwavering strategies, and the character that embodies Dr. Cho Ayaba in terms of justice must be done.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. And I'll come back again to you there before I go to the chairperson. We understand that this was a well-calculated act because the same thing that was happening in Norway was happening to some of our leaders also in the US. But we all know that those that were called in for questioning in the US are going about their duties freely. But Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has been in custody since the day he was picked up. Why is it so? Why is it that the Egg of Sea has not been able to request for bail for him, so that, because people need to understand why we still have him in custody till today.
Thanks a lot for that question. There are a multitude of reasons why he's still being held up. I'll just delve into a few. One, the legal system in Norway requires that people that are arraigned for questioning are kept behind bars as long as it takes to gather the evidence. Remember that Dr. Cho is charged with incitement to violence, and the prosecutor doesn't have the evidence. So keeping him, according to Norwegian courts and the Norwegian police, would give them the time and space to gather their evidence, because they know that if they were to bring Dr. Cho to court now, the case would collapse. Another reason is why so long. Dr. Cho directed his legal team to not contest the application for bail. So that's telling. And as I said, I know who he is. I know his thought process to a great extent. He wanted and he wants to use this opportunity to educate the Norwegians, to educate international community, but also to further the case of Ambazonia. And I think deep down in him, and from corroborated information emerging from him, he knows Norway would be unable to deal with this case, and that the best case, or the best thing that can happen to Ambazonia, if this case is brought before the International Court of Justice, that would be a win. Other reasons are far and near, in the case that part of the investigation is centered around the US, where the defense chair and the logistics chief were also arrested, but due to the legal system in the US, they were questioned and released. And as such, it requires international collaboration, which doesn't happen in 24, 48 hours. So therefore, the authorities in the Atlantic are looking to find the smoking gun that doesn't exist, because the Hague of Sea, the Ambazonian Defense Forces, which uphold international human rights law in self-defense, and which is a right to all Ambazonians, they have never understood how a well-structured organization like ours function, and how the Ambazonian Governing Council, through its self-defense wing, is able to humble a well-structured army like that of Cameroon, is able to shatter the invincibility of the infamous bees, killers of children, killers of Mami Api in Ambazonia. So it's going to take them a long time, and that's why we think this is happening. But the legal team has advised that they will be submitting for bail and relaxation of such restrictions once the 4 weeks, which might end in less than 10 days time, or exactly 10 days from today, once it comes to a close.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President, for bringing that clarity to our people, because we have a lot of fake news running around, and it's very important that officials of the organization come out and set the record straight, so Ambazonians will know from a point of authority and power where the right information to put out there. And let me come to you, Mr. Chairman. You hold a very important position within the Ambazonian Governing Council, and you've been in this fight for very long. What has been your inspiration that caused you to work with Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, and that maintains you to still be in this position even after so many years? Why do you think that you are still in this fight and working with somebody like Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba? What is the inspiration?
Yes, thank you, Madam Pierce. That's a very beautiful question. And I will just chip in something first to say that I think this case that the Norwegian justice system has decided to take is a very good thing for us, because in Ambazonia, there is somebody committing crimes against humanity, and that person is La République de Cameroon. That has burned about 1,000 villages. So the crime against humanity exists, and I'm glad that they have decided to come and look into it. Now, going to Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, which I've known for the last 8 years, and I've worked with him. The thing that that attracted me to the Egg of Sea and to Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is his integrity, his character. If you work with him and you know him well, as I know you know him, his leadership is based on truth. This is somebody that will speak the truth at every time, even when it is inconvenient for him. This is somebody who, to him, doing the right thing is always the right thing. Anytime for him to do the right thing is the right thing. So that is the type of integrity which I saw in Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, and working with him almost on a daily basis, that attracted me. And I would say it like gives me the hope that you still have people that believe in justice, in truth, and doing the right thing. And to me, that is like a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I've known Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba for the past 30 years. Well, most of you know him for the past 30 years to be a justice defender, a human rights defender, and he is even a scholar in international human rights law. So his PhD is oriented towards that, which means that he have a full understanding of when it comes to international law, human rights law, international humanitarian law, issues of the various conventions, the 4 Geneva Conventions, the human rights, the United Nations, everything that has to do with the promotion and protection of human rights. So for somebody to want to come up to hold him to say he is inciting this, it's a little bit disturbing, because he has worked over the years following these very respectful principles laid down in international law. However, like you said, the victim here is not Cameroon. Cameroon is the one committing crimes in Ambazonia, killing our people, committing a genocide. And Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has been nothing but a human rights defender, justice defender, and an advocate for self-defense and self-determination. So, Mr. Vice President, we are here today because it's very important for Ambazonians to know what is happening, and especially concerning the legal case of the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council and the leader of the revolution. We are here because we want to launch the fund drive for his legal defense. So before I ask you about the importance and the significance of this fund drive, do we have a legal team, and how big is this legal team that is going to be handling the case of the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation?
Thank you, Madam PS.
You don't need to mention names, sir. Don't mention their names.
No,
just
not at all. Not at all. So the Ambazonian Governing Council, through the Department of Law and Justice, is currently finalizing retainers for an initial number of four barristers of international standing, both in Europe and in the US, in order to defend the sick, because we, as I said, we see this case as a marker that would act as precedent to all other cases, not only against leaders of the Egg of Sea, but other Ambazonians, because those cases would draw reference from this. And as such, we instructed the Department of Law and Justice to draft in the most important lawyers, barristers across the globe. And as such, these lawyers will need to come together first in the Norwegian courts, but also in other courts should that be the case. This requires lots of money in terms of corporate legal representation. And those of you that believe in Dr. Cho, those of you that sympathize with Dr. Cho, and all of you who want a free state, who want the right to determine your own political, economic, social, ecological future, should dip in to your pocket and put the required money for this retainer negotiating. It is important that we know Cameroon is the one committing crimes in Ambazonia, but it's important that we put a strong legal team with strong evidence to show that the victim has been wrongly charged as the perpetrator, whereas the perpetrator is free and large. I therefore call on you, every one of you out there, that this is the time not only for Dr. Cho, but for your own defense, for the defense of your country, Ambazonia. You have won it. But this latest saga, because they knew they couldn't beat you on the field, they couldn't beat you in communications, you have been educated to the level that the master who taught the slave will never rise. You rose and told them who you were, that you were Ambazonians and not some form of Cameroonians, and that you would defend your interests following international human rights law. You would carry out self-defense to protect property that is being burnt. You would defend yourself from invading military of Cameroon. And then they took you to the courts. Look at this case as another battlefront, and even more important, and that it has ramifications for every single Ambazonia at home and abroad, because the outcome of this case will spell whether you have a free homeland or not, whether you are prosecuted in the future or not. And as such, we call on you all to follow the link and commit to the defense of Dr. Cho, to the defense of other leaders, and to the defense of your own self, should any person ever contemplate bringing a legal case against your stance, against your voice, against your right to be free.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And we understand that this fund drive, we are calling on all Ambazonians, well-wishers, friends and colleagues at job places, and just everyone to come on board to support this initiative. But I know some people, their tongues wagging, also asking, why should we even put our money to support Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba? And I want you to, in a nutshell, I know you've explained that already in your last statement, but for people, to defenders of justice across the world, because this is not just for Ambazonians or just for the Hague of Sea. It is also for people, peace lovers in the world, justice lovers in the world, human rights defenders in the world, to be able to support what we are doing. First of all, they need to know what Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is fighting for, to be able to put in their support for this. And people will be asking, why should they even support other Ambazonians, that he is the leader of the Hague of Sea, so Hague of Sea should deal with it? Can you please explain this to our people and to well-wishers and those that would love to put in something to support the significance of this legal fund for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba?
The legal fund, why, is for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. He embodies this renaissance of youth within the African continent, but especially in the Gulf of Guinea, in Ambazonia, that are courageous enough to stand against an established system of colonialism. Remember, Cameroon marched its troops into Ambazonia in 1961, when it had had its own independence in 1960. And since then, Cameroon has subjugated the Ambazonian people to torture, maiming, forced disappearances, killings, deaths upon deaths. And this is the last phase of chasing Cameroon. We have been fighting Cameroon ever since. And the ideas of Dr. Cho Ayaba reverberate within the African continent and other peoples around the world whose dignity, whose rights have been trampled upon and continuously are being subjected to inhumane, called funny names, not looked upon as human beings. So we therefore ask people, every Ambazonian, every well-wisher, and other lovers of justice around the world to look at this case and say, I will support, because it is the right thing to fight for human rights. It is the right thing to fight for human dignity. It is a universal right to self-defend yourself. It is a universal right to determine your own future. That is external self-determination. And we know there are so many people around the world that their voices are not heard. Dr. Cho is like the voice of the voiceless. Why? For Ambazonia, he inspires others around the world. And the strategies that he leads through the team in the Hague of Sea would become as a benchmark for other people around the world seeking justice. And therefore, we ask you that if you believe in justice, you believe that no human being is bigger, is more than the other, and that people should be given the space and time to determine their own economic, political, social, and ecological future, please do support us at www.giveandgo.com/GDDTS. This is the official link for you to support in whatever way you can, so that justice will be served and the perpetrator of these crimes against humanity in Amazonia will come to an end. We will also send a signal to others perpetrating crimes in different parts of the world that justice will come to them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. That was a very touching response there. And I'll come to you there, Mr. Chairman. When you started, you came out very powerful. You said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And
Yes.
this is heavily true. We all know this, because if you claim to be fighting for justice and you give selective justice to some people, then that is a threat to justice everywhere. So we are calling on justice lovers. We have seen how people rose in defense of Ukraine, defense of even Rwanda after so many years, and we've seen people rising for Palestine and other places that that are fighting for justice, and not just for the countries themselves, but for advocates that have also been persecuted around the world, like maybe journalists or human rights defenders or dissidents and all of that stuff. And this is a typical example of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. And we've seen how the world rose to support these people. So in the same light that Dr. Cho Ayaba is suffering this injustice now, what message do you have to put across so that these people will understand that as they supported them for justice in this place, there is also need for them to support for justice in Ambazonia. Otherwise, it will be injustice in Ambazonia.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam PS, for that question. So, as you rightly said, injustice anyway is a threat to justice everywhere. This is why this campaign, this fund drive, is not only for Ambazonians, it is for all lovers of justice across the globe. It is for all. So we are calling on, I in particular, I'm calling on all the missions to come and support all the members of AGOFC, all Ambazonians, lovers of justice, to come and support. And I'm also calling generally on all lovers of justice across the world, just as we went out and supported Nelson Mandela. We went out and supported Martin Luther King. That's how, because Gandhi, these people represents justice. That is the same face that Dr. Cho Lucas is. He represents justice for his people. He represents justice for Ambazonia. So this is a klaxon call for everyone to come. We need all hands on board to come and support. Yes, it's not a drive just for Ambazonians. No, it's a drive for everyone, all lovers of justice, to come and support. I think the site is www.giveandgo.com GTTS, as Mr. VP said. And I don't know if this is too early, but I will say the US mission, which I'm also the chairperson of the US mission.
I would like you to hold that. I would like you to hold that for now. I will bring you on that. Don't worry. We know you're a firebrand mission, and I know how much you want to pull this out right away. But please just hold on to that for me, Mr. Chairman, because I think it's very important, especially what the Vice President said earlier. He said in 1961, Cameroon ordered its troops to enter into southern Cameroon in Tombe and killed CDC workers, and that didn't end there. It went further into Santa and killed people. So a lot of people think that the killing of La République du Cameroun in Ambazonia, or the genocide, the massacres that are happening in Ambazonia started in 2016 or 2017. But these are references he's making when Dr. Cho Ayaba was not even there, as they claim. Some people are saying that, oh, he is not fighting for our right. La République has been a peaceful country. No, but we've seen in history that they've always had the intention to just annex Ambazonia, oppress Ambazonians, and take over southern Cameroon. And they do this without any fear of any accountability from the international community, because they've normalized it. And Dr. Cho Ayaba has been that face that has stood up for justice, reminding Cameroon of its illegal occupation of Ambazonia, reminding Cameroon of its killings in Ambazonia, its gross human rights violations in Ambazonia, because it's important for people to know what he's been fighting against and what he's been standing for, so that it will motivate them to contribute towards this fund drive. And Mr. Vice President, I know I was just trying to add to what the chairman said there, but for those who do not have a full understanding of the situation, why is it crucial for Ambazonians and justice advocates to really think that it is for them to support this fund drive? I know we've talked about this, but in your few words again, don't waste much time on it. Just say it again, please.
Thank you, Madam PS. The Ambazonians and lovers of justice worldwide should support this fund drive for Dr. Cho, because he embodies the stance against illegal occupation, just like the one in Gaza. He embodies a stance against subjugation of a people, and he embodies that determination to make sure that injustice is dealt with. Most of us, most of you out there will be thinking, why so long? We have been fighting Cameroon. Our fathers did. But this is the generation that would end Cameroon's adventure in Ambazonia, because there is somebody who has decided, who was sent on earth to come and do that mission for Ambazonia. And as such, he will serve as the beacon of hope to other people who have suffered and continue to suffer a similar fate in different parts of the world. He has always maintained, as it is the case, that Ambazonia is different from Cameroon under international law. We know that. Ambazonia has its own borders, with demarcation still standing nowadays. And Ambazonia is never part of Cameroon. And the person causing havoc in the Gulf of Guinea is Cameroon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And you made mention that you've put up a team of lawyers. So this fund drive that we are launching today, does it have a specific amount? How much are we expecting from to raise from this amount? And the second part of that question, how do you think individual support or individual financing will really impact this the fund, the legal fee? Don't you think that maybe organizations, if the Ambazonian Governing Council had reached out to different organizations that support in this kind of event, it will be more prudent than depending entirely on individuals to be chipping in a little sums of money?
Not entirely the case. I think one of the biggest innovations, starting from the campaign of President Barack Obama, is an innovative financing pathway that draws people together and bring the funding that would pursue a particular endeavor more quickly. We could as well go to organizations, but that funding might not reach the threshold. That funding might not come as quickly as it is required. And also that funding might not reach the target. We need at least $100,000 because we are recruiting 4 different law firms, and these are corporates, and they live in different parts of the world, so the expenses are high. The fund drive for Julian Assange ran throughout the entire period that Julian Assange was held, and I think it raised over 380,000 pounds, not euros. So as such, this fund drive will run as long as it takes to free Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. And crowdfunding also shows the solidarity, the support, and it also brings the issues nearer to the people. And you can contribute to this fund drive from ground zero, from anywhere around the world. There are options for you. So therefore, it is this innovation in financing that your people at the Egg of Sea have brought to the fore. But also rest assured, I think we are credited for managing finances. The systems are in place that every penny raised will be accounted for. It will go for the legal defense of Dr. Cho. And the case of Dr. Cho would be that exemplary case that would act as precedent to every other case or any other person seeking refuge in any country because of Cameroon's atrocities in Ambazonia, and even Cameroon's atrocities on its own citizens. Fellow lovers of justice around the world, fellow Ambazonians, this is the time to stand up and be counted among those who want to defend their rights to live as a people, their right to live with dignity and not be called names like dogs, as Cameroon has often referred to Ambazonians, or 2 cubes of sugar. And we think that Dr. Cho Ayaba also embodies that attitude to tell your oppressor that, well, if you think I couldn't defend myself, I will use the same methods that you've used to intimidate, to maim my generation. I will use those same methods to defend myself against your atrocities. And we think since Cameroon has now opted to also use the legal means, because they cannot win on the communication, they cannot win in community mobilization, they've lost governability on ground zero, they have lost to our self-defense forces, and they now think, oh, if we can intimidate the leadership, starting with Dr. Cho, and then they might be scared. But through your contributions and through your support and through your voices, we will tell Cameroon that they are yet mistaken, and that we will fight them with every tool in our toolbox, and every tool that they bring, we will match them. Iron for iron, law for law, self-defense for self-defense.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And I like the fact you said you made mention of the fact that this case will serve as a precedent for any other subsequent case that may arise against future Ambazonian leaders. We also know that in the past, other leaders have been held back home in La République du Cameroon, which means that they also have another legal team that has been defending them. But for the case of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, you're saying that Ambazonians should come together to contribute for this fund drive, because these same lawyers or this case can be used, because every Ambazonian has become a target of La République du Cameroon. Whether you come out live and accept it or not, you're telling Ambazonians that it is important for us to build a case using this particular one so that it will be used for subsequent whatever that comes on our way. So, Mr. Chairman of Council of Mission.
Yes.
So, in the US, like the Vice President said, that different campaigns have gone. Chipping in by individuals has always been a way of showing solidarity and standing for justice or for the right cause as a whole. So what are you, as the head of mission in the US, doing to see that you reach out to a wider population? The US themselves, we know them to be people who are very strong in justice defenders, human rights defenders. Have you taken out any steps aside from this coming out here to talk, to see that you reach out to different institutions to support in this fund drive?
We are currently working on that. We are going to reach out to other organizations, and not only Ambazonian organizations. We'll reach out to other organizations, be it other African organizations and also American organizations, make our case, explain our case, and tell them why we need them to support us. Tell them why we love them to support us. And as you rightly say, I think Americans are lovers of justice, and when we make a case, we strongly believe that the results will be amazing.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Vice President, so what kind of support, aside from financial support, can viewers provide to strengthen the movement, or even show solidarity for the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation at this particular time?
Once the leader is able to be on bail pending the court case, I think his happiest moment will not only be your contributions or contributions from worldwide, but it will be how you have publicized the Ambazonian cause. It will be how, even if you didn't have something to donate, you shared the link with people you think they could chip in something. It would be how you use social media and other communication channels in order to propagate the plight of the Ambazonian people and the atrocities that Cameroon is committing. It will be how you educate the world and other Ambazonians continuously on the injustice and on how an international system that was built to defend and protect the poor is being used by the connected, by rogue regimes like those in Cameroon in order to persecute the same people who are suffering. I think it is important for everyone else, sympathizers, not only to give, but to help us to propagate the cause of the Ambazonian people, to help us to propagate this fund drive, the link, so that other well-wishers and other sympathizers can also chip in something. Dr. Cho would be so delighted, and he will speak for you. He will defend himself so that his defense might act as a baseline for your own defense.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And again, just in that same line, how can supporters really effectively spread the word about this particular fund drive? I also know you are in alliance with the Biafrans, and you're working with other European organizations and other. So how can they possibly, or are you also intending to make sure that these people have this link to be able to spread it in their own local networks in order to make sure that this goes viral?
Exactly. The Liga Team Fund Drive, or the team in charge of this fund drive, the Liga Fund Drive, has put in place a solid plan. And that plan includes sending this link, not just as a link, but with briefs and with information regarding the purpose, the objective, and the importance of funding this Liga team or funding the legal defense of the sick, because most at times people will contribute when they understand why, how, and for what such contributions are done. And as such, the project team for this fund drive has put in place, as the AGOVC always does, a strategy on how we can share this with our partners, both African partners such as the Biafrans and Western and Asian partners. In that way, we can also encourage them to share, but we will use all social media sites and propagate it far and wide. We will use all communication mechanisms available to us and the Ambazonian people. And we ask you, Ambazonian people, to pass on the link, and each link would always come with an objective, with a rationale, with an outcome, and with the context within which this fund drive is being run, so that when you put in your money, you know it's going to go for the purpose for which it is being raised.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm happy that the link is on the screen, and we'll just plead with the communication team to keep it there so people can see exactly what is happening. So, Mr. Chairman, I am still very much concerned at the area of Ambazonia. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is not just a leader of the Ambazonian Governing Council. He has not been fighting for Ambazonian Governing Council. He's been fighting for Ambazonia. And at a time like this, I think it's imperative for Ambazonians to know that the call for solidarity for the legal team for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba is not a matter of the Ambazonian Governing Council, but the matter of Ambazonia, because the fight he is fighting is not the fight of AGOVC. So what other, message, is this a duty call to Ambazonians, or is it just a call for solidarity from Ambazonians to stand up for this particular case?
No, this is a call of duty to all Ambazonians. This is not about the AGOVC. Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has been fighting for the last 30 years for justice for the Ambazonian people. So the AGOVC is a vehicle to help deliver that justice. So the fight is for Ambazonia. So all Ambazonians should come on board and support this son of Ambazonia, who has been fighting for justice for Ambazonia from when he was a kid, literally, in his teens. So it's a call for all Amazonians, and I think the vice president said it also, all Amazonians on ground zero, everywhere. You can go on this website and chip in whatever you can to support this cause, because this is still a continuation of the same fight that we have been fighting, all of us. Because if you think about it well, the fight for Amazonia is a fight for justice. It's Amazonia suffered an injustice, and all the fight we are fighting has been trying to fix that injustice which Amazonia suffered. So this is a call to all Ambazonians to come on board. Everyone, please.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. And also, I think when it comes to contribution, you wanted to talk to us about what the U.S. mission has put in place. And I also want to open the call lines for people to call. If anybody wishes to contribute or to say anything about this fund drive now, I think I want to give at least 10 minutes or 15 minutes for people to call in and either contribute or to contribute financially or in terms of the discussion that we've had about the fund drive for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. So communication team, if you don't mind, kindly put up my number. We'll accept only WhatsApp calls. Kindly put up my number on the screen so that people can call in and either contribute to the conversation or contribute to the fund drive. But the link is there, and we are working to make sure that different options are available for people from different parts of the world. PayPal, Zelle, what was Cash App, or whatever they call those things in the US, and debit, credit, however you want to pay. So we'll make sure that those options are available for people to chip in their contribution. So communication, I would like you to put up the number just for anybody who wishes to call and participate in the conversation, or just encourage Ambazonians on this, or call on the people of the world to support this. We have 10 minutes to do that. While we are waiting on that call, Mr. Chairman, please talk to us. Afenkap. Talk to us.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Pierce. Yes. The U.S. mission also sent me that when I came here, I should, when we are launching this fundraiser, the U.S. wanted to also launch it like a mission, as we are also encouraging other missions to come and chip in as a mission. And then, of course, a lot of, not all our members will be contributing personally also. But the U.S. mission will be supporting this fund drive with $1,000. So we are going to support the fund drive with $1,000.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That is incredible. The U.S. mission is putting, but I don't believe that the entire U.S. mission is going to be supporting the president's legal fee with $1,000. So I'm saying that on air because you said this on air. We don't want to believe that the entire U.S. mission will come up with $1,000 to support the president's legal fee. So please go back to the U.S. mission. Yeah.
No. That's why I made a difference. That this is the mission is doing this, and then all our members will come again and support personally. Yes.
Okay.
So
perfect.
all our members are going to come in and support personally. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that clarity, because it's very important.
Yes.
We must serve as examples to, if we are calling on others to come in to do, then we must be able to also serve as example. But all the same, we want to say a big shout out to the U.S. mission for taking up this bold step to launch, to support this launch with $1,000, and we are looking forward to having more contributions coming in from members. I'm not going to be calling missions by mission to come and do any contribution here because they are doing it behind the scene. We just open the lines for anybody who wishes to call and contribute, either in the conversation or to say, I want to chip in $5, $10, $20, 1,000, 5,000. So just for people to know that. And we didn't announce that people can call, so it just came up in the show. And feel free to call and feel free to contribute. While we are waiting on others to for those calls to start coming in, Mr. Vice President, let me bring this back to you. So looking ahead, what do you envision for the future of Ambazonian struggle? And how does this fund drive fit into the whole vision of the Ambazonian struggle?
Thank you, Madam PS. And just also to aside before I answer the question, it is the case that everybody in the Ambazonian Governing Council, all the leaders, heads of departments, heads of projects, we always lead by example. So within the Ambazonian Governing Council, everybody has been tasked through a broad-based consultation to chip in $500 towards this legal fee. So it tells you the caliber of people in the Ambazonian Governing Council, that whether it is for ourselves to defend against Cameroon, whether it's diplomacy, whether it's legal fees, or community schools, or farming, or all the hospitals and healthcare centers that are around Ambazonia, we have led by example, and we will not relent in this effort towards Dr. Cho. That said, I think it is us in here, it is us out there that will make a difference. It is my wish that we all come on board, because we have seen the dedication on the ground. The legal defense is as important as self-defense. It is as important as diplomacy. It is a tool for community mobilization. Remember, we are running this struggle on a three-legged stool: targeted diplomacy, self-defense, and community mobilization. So this is one aspect of community mobilization in order to push defense, in order to push rather the defense of our comrade who has been wrongly accused of crimes that were committed by the accuser. And as such, the legal defense of Dr. Cho forms a critical pillar to put once and for all the case in the international scene at rest. And we thank God that this has happened in a developed, a democratic country like Norway. If it has happened in the dungeons of Cameroon, like the arrested Siseko Ayub Tabe and the rest, because there is no rule of law in that country, there's no rule of law in Nigeria either, their case could not and has not acted as a baseline for other cases. But we believe that through this fund drive, we can set a marker for all other cases, because we are dealing with a democratic system, a system that is that respects the rule of law, and that maybe through this case, some of the court rulings for in favor of Ambazonia in Banjul and in other places in Africa could be respected. So therefore, this legal defense is very paramount. It's going to come and reinforce self-defense, because it will also, for once, rule on our right, which is an inalienable right to defend ourselves against impunity. And as such, our boys and girls on the ground, our civilians, would be able to continue their resistance without fear or favor.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And just to say that if you're not talking, you mute yourself, and because there's a lot of background noise coming in from, I don't know which of you. But then, Mr. Vice President, I just want to end this as quick as we can. We know that the leaders on the ground who were arrested and are still in incarceration till now, they have a legal team also that is working for them, and these are lawyers that are based with our own legal system, the common law system in Ambazonia. Are we looking at is the AGOVC looking to work with some of the lawyers on the ground, to also add some flesh to the lawyers that have been hired from other parts of the world to defend the case of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, especially bringing in the background, the law of the land into the case?
Exactly. And I wish to thank all of them without calling names here. They have contacted the AGOVC, some have contacted me personally, and they've provided some evidence and some legal directives on how we can go about this case. I think they rightfully understand that we are dealing with a different context where evidence and legal arguments would stand the test of time. It's not like in a kangaroo system in Cameroon. So I would like to appeal to any other Ambazonian, any other legal team member that are trying to defend the Ayub Tabis and the rest, and the BBC Mancho and the Calabar 7, that if you have any other evidence or any other contributions that you can make, you can reach out to me directly, or you can reach out to the head of law and justice within the Ambazonian Governing Council, and that every little helps. Your contributions for those who have contributed illegally and in provision of evidence and other documentation, we applaud you. We didn't ask you. It shows your kind-heartedness. It also shows your support for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, but also your support for all leaders of the Ambazonian Revolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And I want us to wrap this up now. And I still, like I said, the communication team, the links are on the screen. And if you're on the comment section, I would like that you should also type that out in the comment section so that people can start going to that link and making their own individual contributions. And feel free, if you don't want your name to come out, you can always go on anonymous, and it will serve the same purpose. So we encourage everybody to come on board. If you're listening to us now, or if you'll be listening to us later on, it's our encouragement that you go through that link and make your own little contribution for the defense of our leaders. It is said that little drops of water, of course, makes an ocean, and we can never undermine that. So I'm just going to come for you two to give me your closing remarks so that we can wrap this up, and just allow the link to be circulated in groups and within organizations, and for people to now go on board and do that. But before I call you up, I also like to let Ambazonians know that the fund drive will continue. As we've launched it today, we are also bringing in more Ambazonian activists and experts to come on board and talk about this fund drive. For example, we'll be bringing in General Ivor Tanko to come and talk on this, CEO Franklin Vela, and the spokesperson, of course, they will be championing this fund drive. But we needed the leadership to come out today and officially open the curtain, so that, or cut off the ribbon, so that we can now go into pushing this drive forward. So thank you very much for your time. Mr. Vice President, let me come to the chairman, because you just finished talking. Chairman, thank you very much for the incredible job that you've been doing as the chairperson of the Council of Mission. I can tell for a fact that it's not easy, but because for the love of homeland, you've sacrificed sleep, time, energy and everything to make sure that you put the institutions in place for when Ambazonia is free. We already know that we have a transitional authority and institutions that were built during the struggle. So thank you for joining us for this the launch of the fund drive. Now I would like to give the floor to you to give us your closing remark regarding this fund drive.
Okay. So I want to thank you, Madam Pierce, and thanks to the Vice President. I want to thank everybody that has been able to follow us and those that will still follow us after this. I'm pleading with all of them. Dip your hands into your pockets and support this fund drive. It's a fund drive for justice. It's a fund drive for justice for Ambazonia, but it's a fund drive for justice for humanity, for justice for everyone. Because as we said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Vice President, please, sir, give your people your closing remark. Is the VP still there? You're muted, sir. You're muted.
Oh, thanks a lot, Madam PS. Thank you, Chairman of the Council of Mission. I am always happy to be among people of your caliber. I am delighted to serve with you people and all the egg of seas. It's an honor to be surrounded with people like you that have Ambazonia at heart and that are running the revolution in a way that we would like Ambazonia to be. I thank you for picking up the candlelight when they thought incarcerating Dr. Cho Ayaba will end the egg of sea and it will end the revolution. But they are wrong. We are waxing well. The forces on the ground are determined. They are arming as there is no tomorrow in order to defend themselves under international humanitarian law, under the Geneva Conventions on Self-Defense and the conduct of war. And as such, we encourage all of you to start another fight that Cameroon has brought onto us. They took it to their kangaroo court in the case of the Ayuk Tabes. Now they have ventured into a more democratic, a more system of balance and checks. And we have a good shot at telling Cameroon who we are. We have a good shot at telling the international system that these are the victims we have been telling you, and through the evidence that you provide, through your support that you provide, through your finances that you provide, the legal team will be able to put a big defense in favor of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. The state of our revolution is strong. We are laser focused. We are monitoring situations, and every time your self-defense forces are at alert, your contributions are coming in, and we think the future generation will be blessed by your actions. And you can sit one day and be happy and be courageous to tell people and be delighted to tell people you were part of the never again generation. Cameroon, you have met your match in us. Time is on our side. We are in no rush. It's Cameroon that is rushing, and we will strike them at the right time. I hear.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Thank you very much, Chairman of the Council of Mission. I truly appreciate you two for taking out your time to join me here in the studio. So have a blessed day, and we'll continue the fight as the struggle continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pierce.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, what can we say? Thank you all very much for taking our time to be with us in the studio. And I also just want to make it clear here that this fight, the fight for justice, is the fight for Ambazonia. is not the fight of Ayaba. It's for the entire territory of Ambazonia. And we should know that one affected is all affected. We all know that we are all targets of La République du Cameroon. We are all victims of La République's oppression and aggressions in our territory. So we call on every Ambazonian to stand up to fight for Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, as he's been fighting for every son and daughter of Ambazonia. Let's understand that the fight for freedom of Ambazonia is a testament to the strength of resilience and justice for the people of Ambazonia. And this fund drive that we launched today for the legal support of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, it's not just about the legal fee. It is also about standing together against oppression and supporting a cause that champions human rights. This is why we are fighting. Human right, human dignity, and our own right to self-determination and our right to independence. This is a fight that we must all stand together to fight. So this fund drive is not just about the legal fee. It's not just about you putting out $10 or $15 to support somebody that is called Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba. Understand why you are putting that money, that you're standing in solidarity for something that is true, for your own, to defend justice, to defend your dignity, to defend your identity, to defend yourself from oppression. This is why we are launching this fund drive. Every contribution counts. Let us know this. Whether it's $5 or it's $10 or it's $15 or euros, it counts. And your voice, most importantly, matters. Speak about the oppression of the people of Ambazonia. Speak about the human rights violations. Speak about the killings, the massacres, the genocide in Ambazonia, the extrajudicial killings, the arrests, the maiming of our people, the arson attacks on our homes and community, the raping of our young girls, the killing of our children yet unborn. You have to speak up. This is why we fight. We fight because of the oppression, the impunity in our territory. How Cameroon has caused our street to flow with blood. This is why we fight, to defend ourselves. So it's time for us to speak up. So let's unite to ensure that Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba's legacy, to advocate who has been fighting for our freedom, who has been fighting for a free homeland for Ambazonia, continues. So I'm calling on all Ambazonians across the world. I'm calling on all lovers of justice, human rights defenders, and justice defenders to rise in support of this fund drive. Because if we do not support Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, and then we are giving room for injustice to continue across the world. We are giving room for La République du Cameroon to continuously harass and arrest human rights defenders, advocates, and activists who are speaking against its impunity in the international scene. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you for your time this evening, for being with us to talk about the launch of this legal fund drive. And also, don't forget to send in your contributions, ask questions wherever you need clarity, and we will be glad to provide you with with clarity on whatever your concerns are. So, like we always say, short live this struggle and long live Ambazonia. So God bless you all, and good night.